Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Jonathan Ross.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening, sports fans and lovers of fine television entertainment everywhere. Welcome to The Best of Enemies, round one of tonight's big fight. In less than 1 hour from now, the two men you're about to meet will be trying to knock 7 bells out of one another for your viewing pleasure. I talk, of course, of the WBC super middleweight champion Nigel Benn and the WBO #1 Chris Eubank. Two champions, two British world champions, and one of them must go, ladies and gentlemen. For the winner, 2 world title belts and the chance of a crack at a third. For the loser, one word, panto. Since Benn and Eubank first met in that famous contest back in 1990, both have remained unbeaten, and Benn has taken the WBC title. Now, some have said that they've been avoiding one another. Not me. Others have said they've been taking easy paydays against second-rate opposition. Again, not me. But tonight, there's no hiding place. All questions will be answered. Can Benn gain revenge? Is Eubank past his peak? Can they possibly give us a fight as good as their first encounter? Well, enough preliminaries. Let's get straight to the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the WBC super middleweight champion of the world, Nigel Benn, and the WBO super middleweight champion of the world, Chris Eubank. I notice I didn't get a reaction anything like that when I came. For those of you watching who didn't see that momentous first fight between these two great boxers and are wondering what all the fuss is about, take a look at this.
This is what we've seen Benn so dangerous from this position. Here it comes.
He's always saying he likes to battle back, Bevel. He's got to do it here. He tried to do it with Watson, but it didn't work.
Benn's legs are shaking.
That was Benn v Eubank back in 1990. Tonight, the two of you, of course, are going to meet again. Thanks for coming here this evening. Now, let me start by asking about all the hype that's surrounding this fight. Of course, it's a necessary part of the build-up, but there does seem to be a bit more going on. Now, with all that hype and with all this talking, do the two of you feel comfortable sitting this close to each other? Let me start with you, Chris.
I think you should redirect your question to the right honourable gentleman, because I think he can answer it better than I, because I'm a little cumbersome of words at times, you know.
All right, Nigel, how do you feel? Comfortable?
I feel comfortable, but I don't like the guy. I feel comfortable.
Of course, that doesn't make me feel very comfortable, but... So let's talk of the grudge match. I mean, it's in the papers, it's built up. You've just kind of answered the question partly there. But is it for real? Is this bad feeling between you genuine, or is it part of all the hype that is necessary to sell a big fight like this?
I don't play along with that game. I don't dislike Nigel. I don't really know him to dislike him. As a boxer, I respect him. He's a good fighter. Basically, I see him as a business obstacle of which I must get past to enhance my standard of living, to look after my family and so on.
Nigel, to Chris, you're just a business obstacle. What is he to you?
Chris is beating me, and I respect him as a boxer. That's one thing I do. He punches hard, good boxer. But as a person, I don't like the way he conducts himself. But he's beating me, and I want to go out there and even the score.
OK. Now, let's talk a bit about the money that's at stake here, because obviously it's a big purse involved. Nigel, I believe you're going to take away £1 million.
About that.
About that. And that breaks down at about £27,777 per minute. Chris, you're going to be taking away somewhere in the region of £850,000, I believe, which breaks down at a mere £23,611 per minute. Now, with that kind of money at stake, do you feel grateful to each other? I mean, this couldn't happen for one without the other. Is there a feeling of kind of grudging friendship?
No, I'm grateful to be in such a position to where I can earn this type of money. It's very important to me. This is what I've been doing for 11 years. And I haven't been doing it for nothing, and I'm very happy that I'm at a pinnacle and I can be earning this type of money.
Nigel, do you looking... Obviously, you will be literally a millionaire after this.
At the end of the day, I do love boxing, but it gives me the opportunity of securing my kid's life, that's all.
Of course, you were beaten. The last time the two of you fight, you were beaten in that fight. Does that now make you nervous going into the ring with this man before again?
Not at all. He's beaten me and I want to even the score. You know, he prepared like the champion, you know, and I didn't. And I paid the price, badly.
You were, would you say, you were the winner, you are the champion, and you won the last fight. But after that last fight, I remember speaking to you and you told me that no one had hurt you as badly as Nigel had in that fight.
That is correct, yeah.
Does that give you any extra feeling of fear or
Oh,
anticipation?
yeah, I'm petrified. Nigel is a very hard puncher. He's a very good fighter. I think he's stopped 15 opponents in the first round, 13 in the second round. This man he's no joke. This man can fight.
Here's some money for you.
That was a good move.
Just a little bit of improvised comedy for you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. OK, let's move on.
Let me carry on to say, you know, he's a very dangerous opponent. No one should take him lightly.
You take him seriously?
Totally and utterly.
OK. I'm going to talk to both of you individually in just a second. So while Chris and Nigel prepare for our little one-on-one chat, it gives me a chance to introduce you to our studio audience here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, it's made up of boxing stars and experts. We have politicians, showbiz celebrities, and, of course, inevitably, the usual freeloaders who always turn up whenever there's the chance. With a glass of house white and some Twiglets. We do have some great people in the house this evening. Let me just point a few to you here. We have Mr. Tony Slattery is here with us this evening. Hello, Tony. How are you, sir? We have Linda Lusardi here. Good evening, Linda. And from the world of sport, we have Mr. John Fashioner as well. Everyone who is here tonight is united by one common bond, their love of the sweet science of bruising. But now let's prepare to meet our two champions up close and personal. First in the hot seat is the WBC champion, Nigel Benn. And here's a taste of the man and his work. I think some of those early photographs surprised you, didn't they, Nigel? We've already spoken about the money that's going to be made, and you've already said that you want to prove that you can beat Eubank. If that's the case, would you be prepared to go into that ring with him for free?
Pardon? Come here.
Ooh, whoa! Oh, yeah. Oh, give him a round of applause, yeah.
Would you fight him for free?
No, I wouldn't, no. Very succinctly answered. As I can now testify personally, you are one of the sport's hardest punchers. But as we saw it the last time, you caught Chris with many solid blows. You really did lay to him, and yet it wasn't hard enough.
His chin is like stone, but I know where to hit him and slow him down. I know where.
And this will be a legal punch, will it, Nigel? Let's go back to this whole thing about it being a grudge match. I know there are some people who are concerned about that. We have many boxers in the audience. Let me ask, we have Henry Cooper with us, who must be, I think, the most famous, the most popular heavyweight this champion this country's ever produced. Henry, what do you make of this argy-bargy, this kind of verbal sparring that goes on between the two guys?
Well, I think it's all part of the fight scene, particularly this day and age. I think if you go back a few years, I suppose, well, Ali was the first one to start this staring out of the opponent, but I always thought Ali did it with a tongue-in-cheek and with a twinkle in his eye. A lot of fighters seem to be doing it, they mean it. And that's the difference. It's the fun. A little bit of fun's gone out of the game, isn't it? It's all deadly serious now.
Thank you. You've already said to us that you actually do like the sport. You like the game, you like being in there. Chris has made no secret of the fact over the years that he doesn't like boxing. He thinks it's a means to an end. He's called it a mug's game.
You know, for someone to say something like that, oh, she'd get the hell out of the game. We don't need people like him slagging down the sport, which has secured his life. I mean, that's my God-given talent to be a fighter, and to take that away from me, I don't know what I'll do. I love the sport, and for someone like that to knock the sport, which is giving, I don't know, he wouldn't get that from a 9-to-5 job. That's for sure.
You know, there's a lot of people I know who are curious about boxers, their family life, about how they justify what they do to their family. I know we have someone in the audience with a question about Wendy Richard is with us. I think you'd like to ask Nigel something here.
How does your mother feel about you boxing? You know, she must go through hell when you're in the ring, when you're actually working.
Well, when I first started boxing, I was knocking everyone out. My mum was clapping that for my boy Nigel. And when I lost to Michael, no, I fought Anthony Logan, and she actually dragged my dad up and told him to stop him from hitting your son. And she wanted to put my dad in the ring. But I said, Mum, it doesn't always go the way you plan. You know, and so now she's been banned from coming to my fight.
Can we talk about the image that you have? Because you're very smart this evening, you're very sharply dressed.
I followed you.
Well, I'm very... you wear it very well. But there used to be more razzmatazz involved, especially when you got in the ring. I remember seeing you in one fight and you were wearing shorts that wouldn't have looked out of place on Liberace. You were... The Dark Destroyer was everywhere. There was Michael Jackson impersonators. Do you miss all that business?
No, not at all, because I think I wanted to be Nigel Benn, the real Nigel Benn, not this guy that's aggressive, you know, who don't smile or anything. I was just getting aggressive because, Nigel, you got to do this, Nigel, you got to do that, Nigel. I want you to go here, Nigel, I want you to go to Scott. I didn't enjoy it. Now, I'm enjoying it so much because now I'm in control of my life.
Let me ask you another thing. If you don't mind me saying so, you're a good-looking man. But, of course, boxing's a sport when that could change, or at least it'd be altered. If we have a camera, I hope you don't mind this, but can we have a look at Charlie Magri we have in the audience, former champion? No, give me a chance. Charlie, if I'm right, that isn't the nose you were born with, is it?
Yeah, but the funny thing about him, he ain't ugly. Everyone said, like, his face, his nose is gone, but I don't know, I like that. He's got one in boxer's hard looks, and I like that.
He's got a character face, so you wouldn't mind it if you wound up?
If he was most probably like Charlie's, I wouldn't mind. No, he looks proper.
Now, there's something here I think I'd like everyone to have a look at. I'm sure you've seen it many times, but if we could show everyone in the audience this and everyone at home. Right. This is Nigel posing for recent spread in Playgirl. Now...
How can you do this to me, man?
I didn't do that to you. And I'm sure just about everyone must have a question about this, but let me go... Mr. Tony Slattery there, what would you ask Nigel?
Hello, Nigel. I was just going to ask why they didn't let you show your packet.
I think that was the question that was on some of our lips, if not everyone's. Nigel, what's the answer?
No comment.
No. Tony, would you pose in Playgirl?
Oh, they wouldn't ask me, for God's sake. I once posed for Farming Weekly.
And I think on that note, we'll return to the boxing, if that's OK with you. Let me go back to the last time you fought Chris. After that fight, you knew you'd been beaten.
Yeah.
What went through your mind?
I don't know, I just went home and cried for about 3 months. I thought to myself, where did I go wrong? I know I was gutted real bad. Real bad. And now I've waited 3 years. Now I'm ready for him. And now I will prepare for him.
You're confident?
Very.
Nigel, it's been good talking to you. I'll speak to you some more later. Nigel Benn, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Nigel. We now, of course, turn to Chris Eubank, the WBO champion. Once again, we kick off by taking a quick look at his rise to fame and fortune. Chris, Nigel started by punching me. I hope you're not going to do the same. You're the champion. You're the WBO champion. I read one thing in the newspaper that said, as champions go, you've got to be the least popular champion that we have. It said you're an arrogant man. When you read that stuff about you, what do you think? Do you think they're being just horribly unfair, or can you see that maybe there's some reason they're writing that?
The reason is for my behaviour in the ring, the way I perform. But what I'm trying to get over to the public now is that there is a performer and there is a man, and the two are not the same. They are to be separated. When I go into the ring to perform, I behave differently. I can't help it. I call that character Hyde. I'm Jekyll, sitting here right now. And Hyde, he's arrogant and he's bold. He's lion-hearted. He stands tall, he's majestic. He behaves as though he's sublime. At least he puts that over in his posturing. But the man is a normal man who is basically just like any other.
Do you think within the boxing community you're seen as being maybe, if not arrogant, but maybe too confident in yourself? I know we have many former champions in the audience, including Mr. Barry McGuigan.
I think the bottom line about Chris is people do read him wrong, and he's a good man. And at the end of the day, the press love to hate him, but they still write about him, and he's good for our sport. And a lot of the things that he says about the game, a lot of the fighters feel it, but don't say it.
Thank you, Barry. Let me ask you about the fact that money does seem to be your main motivation. I know you've talked about the pride involved, but still financially, it seems you're in it for the finance. Let me go to one of the athletes we have in the audience here. We have Tessa Sanderson here. Tessa, can you relate to that in any way? Do you think that that is maybe what's at the back of many athletes' minds?
No, I don't think so, and that's why I'd like to ask Chris, actually, because in the past you've always talked about sort of money is the major object for you. But I know from an international athlete, the hard work and everything, and especially when I won the Olympic Games, it was fantastic. And I really do feel that every sportsman enjoys winning. And I'd just like to ask you, can you honestly tell us that from the perks and you know, the celebrity status you've had, you've not had a bit of happiness doing the sport that you're doing?
I'm very happy as a person. I don't like hurting people. I don't like... Bad things can happen. Bad things have happened. I don't like that aspect of it. Do you know that over the years, I mean, how many fighters are here? Look at their features. They are a little disfigured. I will be a little disfigured. I don't like that. I wouldn't want that for my son. I don't want that for me. It hurts. This hurts. Tessa, throwing javelins is very hard, and I've got the utmost respect for you doing that when you did. This is about taking punishment, absorbing it, and giving it back out. And that's not a nice thing.
But we do get injured as well, sometimes.
Nothing to be compared with the boxer's injuries, obviously. It's direct, and it does, with many fighters, cause a direct problem, if not during, then in most cases after the career is finished. Now,
I think we've answered the question. I think it's great. We know where you are. Thank you very much. Tessa Sanderson, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, you've been choosing your words carefully, but you're obviously a very serious man. We know that. I mean, you're not, let's be honest, you're not big on jokes. But we do have someone in the audience who I think is one of your favourite comedy stars, who has a question for you as well. Paul Whitehouse.
Chris, great mate.
Paul,
do you do a lot of good work for charity?
For anyone who... OK, yes, I do quite a lot of work.
The answer is you don't like to talk about it, mate.
Chris, I get the feeling when I watch you before the fight, not so much during it, obviously your mind's on other things, but before the fight, you are something of a frustrated showman. The way you leap into the ring, the way you posture, the way you carry yourself. We mentioned earlier the concept of pantomime, and I wonder, I mean, let me ask some of the audience who's maybe done a bit of pantomime. Let me ask Linda Lusardi, you've been one or two. Do you think Chris would make a good widow twanky?
I don't know about widow twanky. I can't see him in a dress, but I think he'd make a good king rat. But I mean, the thing with pantomime is you have to have fun on stage. I can't imagine Chris ever having fun doing anything.
You do have fun doing some things, don't you, Chris?
I certainly do. I'd have fun having a private conversation with that particular lady.
Later.
Fun later. OK, thank you, Linda Lusardi. OK. I'm going to ask you one more question, Chris, before we move on. You know, I think, better than most people, the tragic outcome there can be after a fight. When there are two men who want it as badly as you and Nigel appear to want it in the ring. It's happened to you in the past. It could happen to you again. Let me ask you two questions related to that. When you go into the ring knowing the damage you can do to another person, do you feel that you will hold back because of that? A lot of people have said that your fights since the fight with Michael Watson, you have held back more than before. That's one question. The second question, do you fear for yourself? You know how hard Nigel can punch. Do you think there's a chance that you could come out of it badly, you could be affected in that way?
I have faith that I'm going to be all right. I have faith that I'm going to be all right. And my wish or my hope is that nothing detrimental happens to the opponent either. That's my wish and that's my hope, because I don't want to have to live with anything like that anymore, or again. It's ugly. There's a lot. It's ugly. This is why you know, I have this attitude towards the sport. You know, at first it was just common sense, but then when it happens to you, and everything is stamped or through the circumstance happening, it's sealed that, you know, then it's ugly, and I don't like that.
Thank you very much. Chris Eubank, ladies and gentlemen. Now, boxing is a controversial, dangerous and exciting sport, especially so when it gives Hollywood's leading men the chance to perform heroic feats in the ring. Here's Paul Newman playing the part of Rocky Graziano in Somebody Up There Likes Me, and very convincing he is too. And, of course, there was Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. He went on to make Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, and there was one more, but I'm sorry its name escapes me right now. But where, you might ask, are the British big-screen boxing heroes? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of one British star who did the sport justice, a man who gave us the definitive performance of the boxer. His pain, his suffering, his inner torments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated comedy champion of the world, Norman Wisdom. Norman, lovely to see you. How are you, sir?
Oh, fine, thank you.
Take a seat, let's sit down. I see you've made the effort, and you've been in the wars a bit, Norm.
Yeah, but just, you know, well, I'll tell you the truth. I was walking along the passageway and the bloke was coming towards me, see, Chris Eubank, and I said, well, I looked at him, I said, give us a smile. And he walloped me. So, no, I was only joking, really, because he was laughing, really, because I was unconscious on the floor. Yeah.
But you were, I believe, a boxer at one time. I mean, we couldn't really tell from that clip, but you did box professionally?
I was the flyweight champion of the British Army in India, actually.
Who do you think out of the two guys you've got, who are going to win the fight?
I don't know, really, but I would like to think that after the fight, when the fight's over, they caress each other, share the money, and remain good pals for the rest of their life.
And that could happen, of course.
Yes, I'd like
really
that,
could.
yes.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Norman Wisdom, ladies and gentlemen.
I just wanted...
We're going to take a...
I was having a bit of a chat, and I bought some sweets on for anybody who wants them.
We're going to take a break now while Norman distributes his sweets.
But I bought some sweets here for Chris and Nigel and all that. Wait, Chris! Chris, do you want a sweet?
I'm sure he would.
Oh, come on, wait.
We're going to take a break now.
Oh, very good there.
Oh, that was quite a beautiful moment. We're going to take a break now. We're ever closer to the moment you'll see the big fight. In part two, our boxing experts will be giving their finely held views on who will win. And we're celebrity galore. Got our second. Don't go away. Welcome back. I'm here reffing the verbal fisticuffs between Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank before the serious stuff starts later on. Now, you two, I'm sure, know better than anyone how success in the ring brings with it celebrity status, media attention, and the chance to explore some new artistic talents. I think you know what I'm talking about here, Nigel, don't you? Let's roll the videotape.
There we go.
Sorry, they're
surprisingly good. There you go. Well, that was back in your Dark Destroyer days, of course, but you've put pop stardom behind you to carry on boxing. And Chris, we couldn't find anything similar lurking in your past, and believe me, we did look. The only thing I could find that's maybe comparable, and it's not really from you as such, but is the fact that Spitting Image, you've had that particular tribute made to you. You've been made a puppet on Spitting Image. I don't know whether you've seen that ever.
I've seen it, yes.
But rest assured, we wouldn't be so cruel as to possibly get your puppet here in the studio.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at it anyway, shall we?
Yeah, I'm going to stand and fight. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to make it. Oh, I'm going to stand and fight. I'm going to...
To put my respect to you.
Yeah. Evening, sister. Oh, it's you, Chris. Yeah.
Yes.
What's with the ridiculous new outfit?
Ridiculous. I like that, coming from a man who... Yes, no, it's not ridiculous. I like that coming from a man who is wearing his shorts around his ankles.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have sold off all me belts.
Listen, it's what it is that I am wearing for the video for my new single.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to set a good example for the kids of today.
Kids of today?
And sing a remake of a song by somebody whom that I respect and whom embodies all that is good, saintly and wholesome.
Oh, you can do something like Frank Bruno, are you?
No. Julie Andrews. Listen to me. Climb every mountain.
You can't sing like that.
What? Why not?
Because Julie Andrews had a much butcher voice. You should try something more like The Snowman by Aled Jones.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Very funny, mister. I'll advertise any old rubbish.
Fighting dirty, eh? So how are you going to make money when you retire, eh?
I don't know. I thought I might become a TV presenter like that Jonathan Ross.
Come off it, Chris. Your voice is silly, but it's not that silly. Yeah.
Of course, we have many avid boxing fans here in the studio, drawn from the world of show business. But one of Hollywood's top stars was especially keen to get involved when he heard about tonight's events. He has returned to the sport himself recently, so we're especially pleased to have a satellite link live with him tonight in his own gym in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of 9.5 Weeks and Angel Heart, Mickey Rourke. Mickey, I think I'm right in saying that is your own gymnasium, is that correct?
Yes, this is the Outlaw Boxing Club. It's been here for about 3 years now.
I can almost feel the testosterone coming through the satellite there. Is it just a hobby for you, the boxing, or do you take it more seriously?
It's a little of both. I mean, you can't not take it seriously. I don't do theater, so it's my version of doing theater before I do a film.
How many fights have you had so far since you returned to professional boxing?
Well, I stopped for 16 years. I came back and I have 5 wins, 4 knockouts, and 1 draw. So 6 fights.
We've been talking here in the studio about what can happen to a boxer's looks in fighting. Do producers worry about that in you? Do they think that you're going to get beaten up or rather, even more beaten up than you look already?
Listen, I still know a few people over there.
Now, a lot of people have been making predictions as to the outcome of the fight we're about to see between Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. Who's your money on?
Well, I mean, my money is... let's put it this way. I have a relationship with Nigel. Listen, Nigel,
Correct that.
how you doing?
How are you? Fine?
No, we met at the 5th Street Gym in Miami. And I was very impressed watching Nigel work out. He came before everyone else, played his music louder than anyone else's, and then left.
Now, Mickey, if I'm not mistaken, that rather imposing figure to your left is the current IBF super middleweight champion, a man that many boxing fans feel is the super middleweight who really is the one to beat, James Toney. James, I'm sure you're aware of this fight between Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. Are you watching it with interest? Who do you think will win? And are you looking forward to taking one of them on?
I don't care who wins, and I'll fight either one of them. I mean, I'll fight both of them on the same night if they want to get
Well, let me ask the guys if they have something to say back to you. First of all, Nigel, what do you think?
I don't mind coming over there and fighting him. I've done it with Barkley, Robbie Sims, Doug do it. I'm not scared of him. I'll come over there and fight him.
Let me tell you
anyway.
something. I'm not Iron Barkley, I'm not Doug DeWitt. When you come over here,
That's cool. I'll see you soon.
Let me ask for Chris Eubank's response to your statement, sir. Chris, what do you have to say? What do you have to say? Chris, what do you have to say to the current IBF super middleweight champion?
I'm the best. When I see you, I'm gonna beat you and your mama's ass.
Mr. Toney, we just have 2 minutes left of satellite time.
You're full of mouth,
I wonder if you have any final comment for fight fans over here. How do you regard the WBO and the WBC titles?
Well, the WBC stands for We Be Crooks, and the WBO, we don't even count that. So I'm the real champ. In order for them to be crowned champ, they gotta fight me. And the only way they're gonna make some real money is by fighting James Toney. I'm the $1 million man. If they want to make some money, they gotta fight me. That's what it all comes down to.
Thank you very much for your time. I think we've received your messages loud and clear. Chris, I know, is particularly keen to meet up with you socially.
No fighters in England. They all bums. Bunch of women over there. Bunch of mamas.
No, give the man his due. He's bigger than most of us.
Listen, can you put me through his...
I think we've almost out of time now.
Yeah.
Chris would like to say one final thing to you. Chris Eubank, one final quick thing.
You seem as though you're purely ignorant, and I'll give you a few lessons.
When it comes down to it, you ain't signed no contracts. Neither one of y'all.
You're thick as two short planks
Okay,
of
guys,
wood.
let's calm down. James, I can only say thank you very much. If you could thank Mr. Work as well for giving us the time. And I must just say how very glad I am that you're in Los Angeles and we're over here. Thank you for your time. James Toney and Mickey Work, ladies and gentlemen. Mickey, I think that's it. Mickey, I think we've got what we want there. Thank you very much for that. We'll let you know how the fight goes. Thanks very much for your time. The audience would like to say thank you as well. Thank you, Mickey Work. Thank you very much, Mr. Mickey Work there in Los Angeles. And, of course, as I said, the current IBF super middleweight champion, James Toney, who had quite a few things to say about you guys. Let me give you a chance to answer him now. Nigel, he seemed more than confident. He seemed to...
Very confident. Very good fighter indeed, but that guy seems to have a problem. I don't know what it is, but he has a serious problem.
I think it's a personality problem. That's
yeah,
what we're talking about.
very good fighter. But once I get the job done, then I'd love to go over there and fight him.
And you fancy your chances with him?
He'd be a hard fight, yeah. I thrive on fear.
Chris, I know you have one or two things you'd like to say about his comments.
The only statement I'd like to make, I mean, regardless of what transpires in a fight between me and Nigel, or Nigel and James Toney, or any which way you want to put it, that's, for me, it's irrelevant. This is one of the many aspects of why I don't like this sport. This is what I'm going to be dealing with here. This man's talking about my mother. I mean, this is...
Yeah, I agree with that.
You understand? I don't need that.
Isn't there an element, though, in what he said that has taken part in the past between you and Nigel, the personal criticism?
I've never said anything about Nigel I couldn't justify. The basic fact what I'm trying to get over here is that I don't need to be dealing with this. I can't sleep at night when people talk to me this way.
But, Chris, that's why, to many fans, you're an exciting boxer, because we know that what that man just said, which is basically, it's just stuff and nonsense. It's what people say to get a crowd. But we know that gets under your skin.
Well, all I'm saying is, well, OK, I can understand the spectator's point of view. I'm saying that don't expect me to like this. I can't take this.
OK, we understand that. Thank you very much. Let me just go back in closing this evening, because, of course, you at home were just about to witness the fight. Chris, in the past, you said some things about Nigel. Nigel, you said some things about Chris. Yeah. Shall we end the show this evening with the sporting shaking of the hands? Chris. Thank you, Nigel. Well, all the talking is done. In a few minutes, it'll be down to business. Chris and Nigel, we wish you both the best of luck. In the meantime, thanks to our studio audience of celebrities. Thank you very much indeed, guys. And, of course, to you at home for watching. We now step aside to let the main event begin. Enjoy the fight. Good night.